folks, welcome back to What's Cooking in Bert's Kitchen. It's a nice lazy Sunday morning. We're going to do some French toast, or as the French call it, toast, or pain perdu, and a little bit of bacon. Nothing better on a good Sunday morning. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get the bacon in. That's going to take the longest. Here's a fail-safe way to make bacon. Here I have 6 strips of bacon set out on a nice baking sheet lined with aluminum foil. Always line it with aluminum foil. A, it reflects the heat, helps it to cook better. B, it keeps all that bacon grease from being a mess all over your baking pans and ruining them. We're going to do this in the oven. Now, you don't want to preheat your oven. It's very important that you don't preheat your oven. You want to turn it on and drop the bacon in. We're going to turn it on to 400. And the reason for this is that when the oven starts to heat up, it gets that blast of heat right onto the bacon, which is necessary. So that's going. We're going to set our kitchen timer for 15 minutes. It usually takes between 17 and 20 minutes, but you want to start checking it at 15, depending upon the thickness of your bacon, etc., etc. It's going to take anywhere from 17 to 20 minutes, but if you have really thin bacon, 15 is going to be about the right area, so that's when you want to start checking it. Make sure it's not burnt. Okay, now we're going to deal with our French toast. First thing we need to do is make a custard type batter. French toast seems simple. What you want to do is you want to get that caramelized crust on the outside and have the inside soft and just, you know, sweet and tender. Here we've got a bowl. In this bowl, got to add 2 eggs. To that, just a splash of milk. Somewhere around 1/8 of a cup, a little less than 1/4 of a cup. To that, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of sugar. And about 2 tablespoons of syrup. Now you can use maple syrup. Here I happen to have made my own raspberry syrup. It's a simple recipe. Get a pan, a little saucepan, add 1.5 cups of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of water. In this case I added 1 tablespoon of raspberry extract and made my own raspberry syrup. Boil it down, bring it to a boil, set it to a simmer, let it reduce by about half, and you'll have a nice homemade syrup. You can use maple. You don't have to put raspberry flavoring in it. If you're making your own syrup, you could use, you know, an orange flavoring or vanilla or whatever kind of extract you happen to have in the house. Now we want to whip this into a custard. Make sure you get it well combined. Well, we want all of that sugar to dissolve. Because that sugar, when it hits the heat, is what's going to caramelize and give you that brown color that you're looking for. That nice crust on the outside of French toast that everybody loves. So now we have our custard. A nice yellow custard, mostly egg. That's exactly what we're looking for. We'll set that aside. Now we want to deal with the bread. Here's a loaf of bread that I happen to have made yesterday. I have a bread maker. However, if you don't, sometimes in the store you will find in the loaf sections something called Texas toast. Not the stuff in the freezer. That's usually a garlic bread. But if you can find the Texas toast, it's actually a very thick sliced white bread. Or find a full loaf of bread at a bakery and cut it. You want it really rather thick. Now what we're looking for is a slice of bread somewhere around 3/4 of an inch thick. About that size. Okay, so I just have a couple of minutes left here on my bacon. All the meanwhile, I've had this cast iron skillet, or whatever frying pan you're using, heating over medium heat, to bring it up to a constant temperature. We all know how much I love the cast iron. It just retains its heat. It'll be at a constant heat. What we want to do to that is get a little butter melting on there. Now while that butter is melting, we'll take our bread, and we want to make sure it's fully good and soaked with our custard mixture here. Slap that right on there. You want to hear a nice little sizzle when you put it on. We're going to let that cook for a couple of minutes on each side until it gets nice and brown and crusty on the outside. So there we hear our timer for the bacon. We'll take it out and check it. As you can see, it's still a little bit undercooked, so I want to go maybe another 3 minutes with this. Now we'll check our toast, and we'll see that we've got a nice brown crust on it. Now these are rather large slices of toast, so if you're using the Texas toast, you're cutting your own. You maybe want to do 1 or 2 depending upon the size of your pan. You don't want to overcrowd this. Maybe in spots where it's a little bit colder and parts of the toast won't cook. Second thing is it'll absorb a lot of the heat out of the pan, especially if you're not using cast iron, and nothing will cook at an even temperature. So here I'm just using 1 piece at a time, keeping it right in the center, right over the direct heat. And it's all turning out to be a nice crusty brown on the outside. The reason we added the sugar and the syrup into there is the sugar is what causes this caramelization on the outside. Much like a creme brulee, when you hit it with that torch on the top and it melts the sugar. Our bacon's just about done. The second side of our toast is done. Beautiful. Get that onto a plate. And you're going to get another piece of toast going. There's our bacon. Oh, it looks nice and evenly brown all around. Now, once we take this out, turn off our oven. We want to get this immediately off of here because the grease and the heat from the pan will continue to cook the bacon, and that's not what we want. We're going to move it immediately to a plate with some paper towels to soak up that extra grease. We'll let that sit there for just a minute. Okay, our toast is now done. We want to get it over on our plate. Cut length corner to corner across our toast. Stack them up. There's a little butter on there. And a fair shot of our syrup here. Set a couple strips of bacon on there. And there we have one beautiful Sunday morning breakfast. Oh my. Bacon's perfectly crispy. French toast is out of this world. Took you a total of 20 minutes to do all of this. And trust me, you will be a superstar in the kitchen. Perfect idea for a nice breakfast in bed for the one that makes your life worth living. Well, thank you for joining us, and please stop back next time to see what's cooking in Bert's kitchen.